There's a really interesting, subtle layer to our conversations, a way information can be shared, sometimes without anyone really noticing what's going on. Let's just observe how that can work.
I mean, think about it for a second. Have you ever been in a situation where you were curious about something, but asking a direct question just felt wrong? Maybe too intrusive or just awkward? It's a common feeling. And there's a way people navigate this.
There's actually a name for this. It's called elicitation. And it isn't some kind of trick, it's a communication skill. In fact, it's a technique used by professionals, even organizations like the FBI, to gather information just by talking to people.
So, what is it really?
Well, elicitation is about guiding a conversation in such a way that the other person just offers up the information. And the key to it all is that it's built on making statements, not on asking questions. And this is the fundamental shift in thinking. Most of us assume that if you want an answer, you have to ask a question. But elicitation suggests that sometimes a simple statement can be much, much more effective. But why? Why would that even work? It works because it taps into this really powerful, almost universal human tendency. The psychological engine that makes this all run is something we can call the correction reflex. You see, deep down, most of us have this need for things to be accurate. When we hear something that we know isn't true, especially if it's about something we know well, we feel this almost automatic urge to step in and fix it. It's a really strong impulse.
And what's so interesting about this is how automatic it is. It's not something we usually think about. Hearing something that's off just triggers this impulse, and that impulse often makes us volunteer the right information before we've even processed it. It's almost like a predictable bit of our mental wiring.
Okay, so we get the idea, the principle behind it. But what does this actually look like in a real conversation? Let's break down the simple process of how it all plays out. It really is a simple three-step dance. First, you make a statement. But here's the key part. It has to be just a little bit wrong. It needs to be close enough to reality that it invites a correction, not so out there that it just kills the conversation. Second, that little inaccuracy triggers the other person's correction reflex. And third, as they correct you, they reveal the real information. Let's make this a little more real with a simple, everyday example. Imagine you're curious about what a coworker earns, but asking directly, "Hey, how much do you make?" That's a huge social no-no in a lot of places. So instead of a direct question, you could just offer a statement, something like this. You're not actually asking. You're just stating something you supposedly heard, using a number that you guess is close but probably not quite right. And because that statement is incorrect, that reflex just kicks in. They're very likely to say something like, "Oh no, it's actually closer to 35. And just like that, the information is out there. Not because you demanded it, but because that human instinct to correct was just too hard to resist. This whole thing really gets you thinking about a much bigger idea, about the different energies between a statement and a question. It goes beyond just getting information. It touches on a really basic part of how we connect with each other. When you put them side by side, the difference is pretty clear, isn't it? A direct question can feel a bit like an interrogation. It can put someone on the defensive, like you're trying to take something from them. But a statement can feel collaborative. It's like you're both looking at the same thing together. By offering a piece of information, even if it's slightly wrong, you're inviting them to help you get it right. And that feels a lot less like an intrusion, and a lot more like you're just trying to figure things out together. So that kind of leaves us with this thought to just sit with for a moment. This isn't just about a technique. It's an observation about our own nature. And it makes you wonder, in our own conversations, how often is a gentle statement actually more powerful, more effective, and maybe even more connecting than a direct question?